this works. Can y'all see me and hear me up in here? I think this should work. Let's just see. Sarah, can you hear me? Am I live on YouTube? Crew, what about y'all? Let's see. Anything? Oy, oy, oy. It says it's coming. Okay. Try that. How is that? Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Come into the chat. Let me know how you are. Let's see. Anybody? Okay, so all right, guys, let's see if this works here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello. I'm not. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can get everybody over to the right stream. Always an adventure, isn't it? All right, so let's see if we can get some of you over here. Let's see if we can get someone over here. I just dropped, if you can see me or hear me, I just dropped a new YouTube link into the link on the soultour.com page. And I'm hoping I'll see some of you here soon on the new page. When you get here, you're here. I can see you starting to come on. Okay, great. Joy is here. Thank you, love. Emily is here. Thank you, darling. We shall start to see people come in. I don't know what's happening, except you know what is happening? I decided this morning, because you guys, I've taught this. Actually, what's happening is I'm doing a Dr. Evelyn right now. I've taught these launch pads a lot, and I always have kind of a little twist or a little update I'm trying to give you. But this morning I got up and I just had like a real, the church ladies in the room will call it like calling in my spirit to kind of go off script a little bit. Okay. And to talk with you about my lessons learned. My lessons learned a little bit over the last 7 years of having an online coaching, consulting, transformation, metaphysician business, but also lessons learned thus far in 2025. Because one of the things that I know for sure, because I've been in this business for a really long time, is that we are in that this time of the year is the time for a little reboot. It's the time for a little roadmap reset. Okay. A couple of years back, it was like April, and I was getting, a bunch of emails from clients who had been doing the work all year, came out the gate strong in January, were doing the things that they had set out to do. Some things worked, some things didn't, because that's life and that's business. And they were all sending me the same kind of email where they were like, oh God, am I in business? What's happening? Where am I? I feel adrift. I had like 1 year where like 3 different people sent me an email with the word adrift in it in April. And I was like, yo, I'm a pattern spotter, right? So I'm like, okay. And then the next year it happened again, always just at that little moment in time. And so I kind of spotted this pattern, and it's always true it's already happened a little bit this year, but y'all are a little hipper to the game now. I still hear people saying like, it feels like things are starting to die off. Like, now we kind of know that divine order is real, that contraction precedes expansion, that this is an experiment, that there's no one right way. But back then it was like early days for me. And I was like, oh, this is a pattern among the soulful entrepreneurs of the world. Everyone sets this big vision at the end of the year or the first of the next year. Everyone spends sort of January starting to make moves toward our business goals, our marketing goals, our life goals. Everybody spends February and March kind of, if they can, best case scenario, doing chop wood, carry water. You bring on new vendors, you get new tools, you try new marketing strategy, you launch a new offer, and then everyone right around the end of April or beginning of May starts to email being like, wait a second, what am I doing again? I'm feeling a little lost. What am I doing anymore? Should I keep going? Should I be pivoting? Should I do a new offer? Should I do a new whatever? Should I even be in business? Now, what I will say is I've gotten dramatically less of that this year than in years before from this group, because y'all have proven models. Because I'm no longer sort of giving you broad strokes principles and just coaching you as you implement them. We're all building a model that we know works. So more of you than ever this year have been like, actually, this is kind of working. I love my offer, actually. Actually, people are buying it. So that's great. But even among those of you who have an offer you love, where people are actually buying it, there's still that feeling. It's just a seasonal spring feeling, right, of there's that little itch. There's that little itch to, and I think it's appropriate, to be clear. I think it's an appropriate itch because what we've been doing is planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, adding things, adding things, adding things to our calendar, adding things to our business. And you can't just do that forever without subtracting some things. You most certainly can't do that forever without subtracting some things and be within the constraints or be in alignment with the energetics of the empire's business model, which isn't just about go ham until you make all the money in the world. It's about, beautiful money within an even more beautiful work week while staying within your beautiful zone of genius. Okay, so you can't just add and add and add and add and add. All right, so even last year, I remember I got an email from Christy Inge, the human design reader, and she was like, this is the time of year when it feels like everyone gets the itch to burn it all down, right? So what I see is, sure, some of us are wired for stability. Some of us don't ever want to burn anything down. Okay. But we want to keep doing more. We want to keep adding projects and adding launches. And sometimes, yes, that distracts us from the laser focus that this empire's business model requires of us to get it implemented, instilled, up, running, optimized, and delicious. Okay. Now, some people are wired a little bit more like me. I have a scorpionic. I'm just realizing this is a Scorpio trait. It's a little bit of a projector trait. It's all over all of my charts where I'm very comfortable with blowing it up. I'm very comfortable with burning down what needs to be burned down. The challenge is whatever you want to burn down in May, you got to really, really, really tune it. Like think about that before you do it. Understand why you're wanting to burn it down or stop doing it before you do it. And make sure you're not just burning it all down, right? Because what you've been doing, if you're wired, like actually, if you're any of us in empires, what you've been doing is that experimentation. You're learning what you need to know in the first half of the year to make the second half of the year. Okay. And what you don't want to do is because it doesn't always feel good to learn, you don't want to risk giving up right on the brink of your breakthroughs. In fact, let me just check chat and make sure that y'all are, yes, 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 yes. Okay, so actually earlier this week, Nick and I were having a conversation about me being a 3-5, that martyr, heretic, radical experimenter who then comes back and teaches the radical lessons I've learned to others. We're talking about me being a 3-5, raising a 3-5, which is I will report from the inside, is a very hair blowing back experience. Okay. My child is wired to experiment. She can't stop it. She can't always take my word for it. She got to try it. And I know because I did too. I still do. Okay. So I was somewhere, I was on Reddit reading about just human design. And someone said, hey, there was a post that was like, I'm a 3-5 splenic projector. And this person said, and I feel real faily. I do all the experiments, but they never really work out so well for me. And am I ever going to win? It was actually kind of sad. And kind of like when I first came into human design and had my own chart read by experienced readers, they're always like, oh, that 3-5 is tough because it's that trial and learning. And just like that, there were all these people in the comments who were like, yeah, that 3-5. People were like, yeah, it's kind of rough. Sorry for you. Sorry to this person. Like it's hard. And then one person, one brave soul in the comments was like, hold up, wait a minute. None of the types are bad. None of the types are like have to sign you up for a shitty life. If you're 3-5 and you're feeling faily all the time, here's the thing you're not doing. You're not pressing pause to tune in to the lessons you've learned. Because if you do that intentionally enough, you'll see the successes that you'll see what worked and what didn't work. And just seeing that is a manifestation of that is a successful experiment. Learning what works and what doesn't work for your objectives is in and of itself a successful experiment. And then and this person said in the comments, if you come back and teach what worked for you and what didn't work for you to some other folks, then you actually win. You're in alignment with your design. I bet if you do that, you won't feel so faily. This was all on Reddit, guys. Can you imagine? So I was like, oh, that's really fascinating because, hey, that's what I do for a living. Exactly. Emily. So that's what I do for a living, right? It's kind of like I go out and I've lived the life and done the things and I try all the things and then I bring them back to you. But I thought, wouldn't it be particularly powerful in this week where we're doing a roadmap reboot to do exactly what Emily just described in the comments, which is to press pause and pay attention to the lessons I've learned and make them the lesson and give them to you, endow you with them too. Not just in the format, like projectors love systems, right? So I tend to do that in the form of, oh, and now I built a system that works for you. But what if I actually just straight up told you, here's what we tried, here's what we learned. And so we're going to do some of that today. All right. That's my long story short is that we're going to do some lessons learned today. All right. But I wanted to share that backdrop with you because I want you to know that if you've had like a little downward spiral in energy lately, or if your clarity has taken a little dip, or if your confidence that you're on the right track has had a little bit of a wobble, this is what that is. This happens every year, even among the people who do incredible business, even with me. And for me, I tend to harness it into like, all right, this is a great moment in time to take a sacred pause, stop reacting, especially stop reacting to like my expectations for the year, and tap back into my natural strengths and powers, which include that ability to learn. I can learn lessons like nobody else because I experiment like nobody else. All right. So let me do this. All right, great. Emily's into it. How do you all feel about doing some lessons learned today? I have my notes today are so messy, so janky because they're like an amalgamation of things, but that's okay. So also know this, that actually, let me just tell you, my goal, as always, is to grab your hand and work with you side by side to create, not even to create, to craft, y'all. I've been leaning into this. Like, I love, because I've got 5 people. We've got our first class of Empire Build half sold out. We haven't even really launched it properly yet. And I've done a bunch of your business brunches already. And I'm like, oh, I'm so in my element because it's what the business brunch component of Empire Build, which is our new program. I'll tell you about it if you haven't heard about it yet in just a second. The first piece of it is all offer crafting, and that is what your girl does best. So I don't even think of it as like creating an offer anymore. It's like offer crafting. Okay. So my goal is to work with you side by side to offer craft your own core offer, get it dirty launched, validated, and then begin to build the rest of your Empire offers sequence and Empire business model in the next 30 days. All right. And so what we're going to do today, I think you guys can see my screen. No, you can't see my screen. All right. Great. Okay. So what y'all, okay, great. Yes, Dr. Evelyn. Yes. So much happened. Like, we uncorked this thing, guys. It was like not even just a business thing. It was like a mystical thing. For real. It was a mystical inflow, a genetic inflow. People's bodies are changing, lives are changing, things are moving. Dissolutions have created space for new solutions and resolutions, right? New journeys. And so I think it's really important that we take a moment and like process, reset, reboot. And when I say a moment, I mean a spiritual moment. So that for if you're in empires, that might mean like the next week. All right, take a week. It doesn't mean you don't do your chop wood, carry water stuff, but take a week and like reset. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. And Anu Empires Build is a vibe. It's already a vibe. I'm already in love with it. Ask Dr. Evelyn. Okay, so what we're going to do today is, okay, so I'm going to try to be still on time. I will try. What we're going to do is in the first, let me just recalibrate my own time mind, because y'all know I don't quite live in the same time dimensions as real people. So maybe for the first 45 minutes, we're going to do a little recalibration. And the recalibration will be total. So we're going to do a little recalibration in here, dissolve some of the things that may have been getting in your way. Then we're going to do a new sort of take on the Empire's business model. The reason I teach the system every time we do it, even though like half of you guys are in Empires already, is that the model upgrades. You know me. I don't let grass grow under my feet. Like the model continues to upgrade and the way that I talk about it continues to upgrade. And so you'd be surprised at how often after a launch pad, which if you're new to this world, a launch pad is a session in which I have some of my existing customers in the Empire program, my existing members, and new people who are considering coming into Empires will come to the same session. Okay, part of the reason I'm teaching, so one thing is if you're new to us, that means you're in for something good because I am teaching what I teach to my paying customers in this session. That's part of why I do and can charge for the session if you're not in the program. But the other reason is just that there's just new ways of getting at it. There's new ways of getting at the essentials that you need to know to activate what needs to be activated for you to have a delightful, delicious, successful, thriving Empires model business. You'd be surprised at how many times after a launch pad, someone who's been to all the launch pads will email me and be like, something just clicked. Something in the way you talked about X. I maybe you've said it that way before, but I never heard it that way before. Okay, so that's why we do this. We always go over the model. So we're going to do a little sacred pause moment, and it's mostly windshield wiping. Dissolve all that cognitive mind mess. Okay, we're going to get you back to the deepest level of your mind and your soul and your genius, and expand some of that capacity that you will need to have, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 months in a part-time work week, which is the vision of the Empire's business model. We're going to dissolve any of those old timelines or even future timelines in which you didn't feel safe receiving a lot of money, or in which you didn't feel safe, being in queen or empire mode, or in which you didn't feel safe being highly visible. That ends today, gone, okay? And then I'm gonna also give you the drone's eye, a higher level view of the Empire's business model. And I'll just unpack the model and I'll show you how I'm doing what I'm doing, okay? And just know that, we'll talk through the vision of the Empire's paradigm, which is really, it's a business model I made for under monetized geniuses, right? These are like proven offers, proven forms you can flow your genius into with this beautiful counter kind of revolutionary backdrop of light, playful, light lift. It's not a heavy lift to do this. It's a light lift. It's playful. We're detached. We're experimental. We see what works. Not perfectionistic, always devotional. It's a devotional ritual practice to build this business. Okay. All right. And then in the last half, I'm going to talk about my lessons learned this year and your 2025 plan. I have real clear lessons that I want to talk to you about, but also like if that part can be a little more conversational. All right. I'll share what my 2025 business plan was, how we got it going, and we'll get you clear on what your next steps are. All right. All right. Oh, and maybe if we have time, I'll share. For sure, I'll talk with you about the new way I'm talking about the business model. We'll do that soon. I'll also share with you a little bit about how I'm thinking about Hook and Spark in my own business and how I'm thinking about bringing that to you. So that's very much about YouTube, podcast, and the new playbook. Okay. What I will not be doing, and I'm going to just name this here on this live session, is like a ton of hardcore instruction on how to build the offers. This document, which you will have access to, has all of that. And then I'm also going to bonus you a bunch of deeper dive, like actual video trainings and toolkits on 8-figure nervous system, vital vision, 5-figure flagship offer, and 5 days flat and launch dirty. So you're going to actually have the mindsets, the skill sets, and the offer set and how to implement. Okay. I know some of my clients and members here think I'm insane for giving this much information for $100. But the truth is that we all know that information and implementation are very different things. And every single person on this call has enrolled in a course or signed up for a toolkit that they did nothing with afterwards. The work of building an empire is, I've streamlined it, and it's a series of finite and very manageable projects, but it's a long game thing. All right. And so most people are just not likely to actually implement on their own. And I invite you to try, but most people just won't do it on their own. We need a success squad. We need mentors and aides and guides and yes, tools, but like plus the energy of like live implementation together. So if you want to work direct, so I've got all these resources in here. They'll be linked in the document. I want you while you're on the session to participate, to share, to be in the chat, to be connecting with people, to ask questions. I want you to implement what you learn here. And if you want my direct help, you have two options. Let's see if I can figure out how to show them to you. Okay. Empires, let's see if I can put them both up. No, I can't do both. Okay, so I have one spot in Empires remaining right now. There should be a QR code on your screen right now. If you're interested in joining the base level Empires program, which is a group program where we have all these day-by-day sprints to help you implement the work that we'll talk about here today. And we also offer some clinics every week, including an offer clinic, including an implementation clinic with Sarah, our head of operations. We have one spot right now open in Empires. The even cooler thing that we have available right now, I mean, Empires is so freaking cool, is the truth. And all of the Empires is like an offer suite. Okay, so all of the programs actually create the same result. The difference is really access to me, speed of results, and how much done for you want. So if you know that you desire to have a freedom business where you're making 10, 20, 30, $50,000 a month in a 16-hour work week, you know that you have the right level of genius to pour into that kind of thing, but you also know that you really need some done for you help. You need my offer craft genius in your world. Empire Build is that program. I've just put that QR code up too. So Empire Build is that program. It's a 90-day accelerated cohort because it's hybrid, done with you, but also done for you. And the big, you get a one-on-one business brunch with me, some one-on-one offer crafting by me, where I actually help create your core offer. Like you give me the messy download and I give you back a finished offer. And then you get some one-on-one throughout the program for 90 days. Empire Build, the QR code is on the page. And that's actually all I'm going to talk about, the programs right now. Okay. Because I want to dive in. And I think I'm going to stop sharing screen for now so we can just have a conversation. And I'll put the codes back up in just a bit. I'll put the codes back up later. Actually, you know what I'll do? I will drop them into the chat and then you can just have them. And I will star them. So, because there's always someone that asks that question. So I will do that because I think there's a little time lag. Oh. I think there's a little time lag actually. So I think sometimes by the time I say things, they are, and take them off the screen, you guys are just really hearing me say it. So there are your links. Oops. I've pinned them in the comments. And now let's go. Vamos lá. All right. So as I said, my goal is to really work with you to create, craft, launch, and validate your core offer soon, in the next, let's say 15 days to 2 weeks. And as I was prepping for this, I was inspired by that experience I had on Reddit. I was inspired by just in my own journaling. I've been writing about, I always write in my own journal a little bit for a couple days on a thing before I bring it to you guys in my emails. I was writing about something I call the resistance paradox, which is like the idea that I've realized whatever I resist the most is the thing that ends up working out the most for me, even in the business. Whatever it is that I resist. And if you're in Empires, you've heard me talk this week, actually in our member message, about YouTube, and that being an area where I didn't think I was actively resisting it, but I've seen now how much energy I was putting into and money I was putting into other channels that I don't really care about, in a way that was keeping me, it was prohibitive. There's only so much energy you got, only so much time you've got. And it was keeping me from really going all in on YouTube, which we predict and project will be a really good channel for us for lead generation. All right. And then I've been working on my personal life, like just development campaign right now, in line with essentialism, which we'll talk about in just a minute. I had a conversation with my dad where I said, hey, I've realized I've been really overly responsible since I was like 16 years old. So as I approach 50 years old, I've decided I'm going to get way less responsible. I've decided every week to lighten my load a little bit, right? It's not, I joke, I'm going to become irresponsible. It's not really about becoming irresponsible, but it is about taking things off of your plate. All right. And that's in line with the Pareto principle, right? That 20% of what you do creates 80% of the results. 20% of the work you do in your business creates 80% of the results. So if that's true, then May season is time to start to release some stuff and recoup that energy and pour it into whatever our growth edge or final or next frontier is. And I'm going to say that you can probably find the next frontier that you should be focused on in your business by looking at what you are most resisting doing in your business. I'm going to just let that drop in for a second. If you're not sure what you should be focused on in the next season of your business, I suggest you take a look at the things that aren't working, pull your energy back from those, and look at what you've been resisting the most. That's probably a really great sign. Okay. So Why do we care about essentialism? Why are we building the way that we're building? What is an empire offer? All of that stuff. Well, I told you I was going to talk about lessons learned, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Really. Hold on. But I have made offers in my business. I have, you know, launched offers in my business in literally every kind of way and format and form you can imagine. I've had Soul Tour as a business for 7 years. We're undergoing like a reorganization and new name and all of that stuff. But the reality is I've been in the transformation industry for about 25 years, Soul Tour for 7, almost 8. I have launched successfully in the world's definition in every way you can imagine. Some of you remember, if you read my last book, Empires of the Soul, it talks about how as soon as I learned my human design and took the signature method approach to creating offers and assets and marketing, I did a 3-day in-person launch. We did $500,000 that weekend. All right. And also, I spent $200,000 in expenses to do that. And also, so this is what I mean, we're a countercultural crew here, because a lot of people would be like, 500K in sales in a weekend. It's like amazing. I'm like, sure, that's how the business gurus talk about it. But the truth is, it took us 6 months to get up to that. And that it cost me 250 in cost. And that I was so tired that I literally was in the green room, and my best friend, Keisha, you all know, walked in the room, and I was laying under the table on the ground, and she was like, no, this ain't it, babe. High risk, high drama. We still did it again another couple of years, actually. High cortisol and high stakes that like make or break, gotta get this launch feeling, right? So then I downshifted from that, but kind of into was just replicated that online after I moved to Portugal a couple years ago. So we did couple times last year. We did 5-day live launches online. The last one I did, we spent 65 grand on just ads, not including team, and we had a big team at the time. The funnel was complex, and you know what we got? We got a bunch of beautiful human beings who joined my list. And this is one reason I ask you guys to charge for your workshops. Charge a little bit. Charge for your workshops, charge for your books, charge for your toolkits, even if it's just a little, because I have spent many hundreds of thousands of dollars building lists of leads who are not buyers. Some people call them freebie seekers. I like to describe them as beautiful human beings who love my content and will absolutely never buy anything. They're just not our people, right? So I got crickets from that ad spend and then kind of turned it around and saved it by doing a really quick little dirty launch of the same product to a little tiny segment of my own email list. And that launch was no sales calls, no sales team commissions, no ads. I've now done that like 4 or 5 times just in the last, let's call it less than a year, like 7, 8 months. We've done it, let's see, I've done it probably exactly 5 times in the last 8 months with launches ranging from $23,000 to $80,000 and all points in between, through 1 to 4 emails, 2 tiny segments of my list. And when I say tiny, 12 people, 100 people, my actual dream clients. All right. Almost all profit, almost all peace, because I don't even, every one of those launches went from idea for the offer to emailing someone to offer it to them in less than 7 days, all 5 of those. Okay. So it's like all alignment. And at the time, I was just sending them to the people. You know how sometimes when you have like a baby dream or goal, how you want to like protect it? When you have a brand new baby dreamer goal, do you ever have that experience, guys, where you really want to protect your baby dreamer goal? So you just don't put it out to everybody. You don't talk to everybody about it. Maybe you don't talk to anybody about it at first. And then when you do talk to someone about it, you just talk to people you know you can trust with your precious little baby dreamer goal. That's how I feel about my offers at first. Like I create it from here, so I love it. So at first, I don't even want to work on it with everybody. That's like if you got an offer, an invitation to Empires or to Empire Build, it's because I personally want to work with you. At first, I just send these offers to only the people I actually know I want to work with it on, right? Because I also know if those people don't respond to it, I really need to pay attention to the feedback. I really need to pay attention to why. Whereas some people out in the big world won't respond to it because it's not for them, right? So that's how I did these launches at first. I just sent them to these little kind of groups of people that I love and know. And so it feels really freaking good. And so there's no hold back in my energy or my spirit about launching them. All right. So, what's the moral of this story? What lessons did I learn from this? I learned the lesson that complexity is very freaking costly. Complexity costs. Congruence is wildly profitable. Actually, complexity costs, and complexity doesn't just cost money. Complexity is like an energy drain. Always we were taught, especially if raise your hand or say that's me in the chat if you were an eldest daughter in your family. If you were raise your hand or say that's me in the chat if you were an eldest daughter. Raise your hand or say that's me in the chat if you were a gifted child, like a gifted student or an ACE student. Raise your hand if either of those apply to you, or say that's me in the chat if either of those apply to you. Okay, why do I say that? Because always we were taught that complexity means you're smart. Complexity means we're smart. So we bring that good student behavior into our business and we build these complex cognitive castles of thought in our mind that are actually exhausting and expensive. Congruence, on the other hand, and really streamlined, simplified, pure congruence is wildly profitable and is deeply energized. So, what happened with these really tiny little micro launches was that when my offer lined up with my genius, my rhythm or energy, the way I thrive to work, and my people, my dream clients, my best fit customers, the vision that I could hold for their future that sometimes they couldn't even hold yet, it's like an unlock. Everything opens up. Your nervous system opens up. And when your nervous system opens up, their nervous system opens up. Okay. Now let's talk about lessons learned. I think I started this year talking to y'all about 8-figure nervous systems, didn't we? Right. And when I started the year talking about 8-figure nervous systems, I was like really focused on helping expand your capacity to hold a fully thriving business. Okay. Because if your nervous system's in defense mode, it's really hard to ride the emotional roller coaster of business and stay in the game without taking 6-month long or 2-year long pauses all the time to get yourself right. Right. Now, what I've learned this year, or what I've just seen this year, because my list is like, it's funny because I used to talk shit about my list, you guys. I used to be like, my list is like a bunch of freebie people because I built it on a bunch of free challenges and whatever. And most of my list is, but there's this tiny core that is so good. Deep calls unto deep, iron sharpens iron. And that's some of these people on my list are like that. So what I've learned is that, have you ever heard marketers say, confused people don't buy? Have you ever heard that? Confused people don't buy. It's true. It's one reason why we're so clear and specific in the Empire Offer Sales template. You know who else doesn't buy? Clinched people. Clinched people don't buy. If there is some feature in the volume of features in or an energy in your offer that causes people's nervous systems to clench, they will not buy, even if their logical mind is like, yes, I need this. This is what I want. This is like, I love her. I love the idea of this. I want this. If their nervous system tightens up, they will literally email you back the words I'm in and not hit buy when you send them the link because they can't overwrite. And I think it's a gift. I think it's a gift of their wise inner being to them and to you, right? Because you don't want to override that, but it's like they're in defense mode. They can't do it. So, what is it that causes people to clinch up? That seems like the natural next question, right? Too much shit in the offer. It just feels like, oh gosh, this is like it's like a bad homework assignment. It's like that dream I had. It's the dream I used to have where 20 years after I'd graduated from law school, I was still having dreams about not having done the work, not having turned in my homework, not having read the cases so I could, argue in class. When they see a lot of stuff, and it's funny because sometimes we, beautiful, brilliant souls that we are putting all of this stuff, everything we got in the offer because we want to justify our premium pricing. We want to prove that our work is that valuable. So we want to give it to them all. We want to show proving. That's why I say, if you got proving energy in your energy, in your offer, you got to get it out because your proving energy triggers their proving energy and that will clench their nervous systems up and they won't want it. You know what else causes that clenching is too big promises. Even if they're real, even if if you know for sure you can help people get there, if the promise is too big. So I had someone, it wasn't even on, in the Empires, sometimes we talk about 100K months. That's a lot for people. That's too much for many people, right? So you've seen, I've started to talk about an additional 10K, 20K, 30K in your business, right? Maybe an additional 50K if it's really for, the Omega Club or one of the higher levels. But I actually had someone in Empire Build, in the Dirty Launch for Empire Build. And we went through, let's call it 3-4 iterations of that offer in like a week, okay? Because I wrote that offer for some individual specific people. And I sent it to them, and a couple of them said yes, but they didn't buy. So I was like, all right, well, one of them is someone who I know she has a very good vocabulary for her own and our experience. And she's been in every one of my programs, so she knows. I knew we could have a conversation about it. So I was like, hey, girl, what's up? What's happening? And she said, the idea of even receiving $90,000 in 90 days is stressful to me. It wasn't about doing the work. It wasn't about her not believing that I could get her there. It wasn't even 90K a month. It was 90K in 90 days. And she said the idea of even having to deal with that inflow of money that rapidly it was too much for me. Blew her gaskets a little bit. Now, could I coach her on how to disentangle her money shit? Sure, but that doesn't get that offer sold. And what we're building in Empires is high converting offers that feel good to people, that don't trigger and stir people's shit up so it's active and on when they come into your offers. Now, that's important to me because, as some of you know, I just finished scrubbing the energy grid of my own business clean. Not because the offers, which meant, that's my nice way of saying, closing whole offers down, closing lines of business down. Why did I do that? Why did I give up? I mean, we had, let's call it 10, 12K a month in income coming in on an offer that wasn't that hard for me to fulfill. Why? Why did I shut it down? Because the energies with which that offer was marketed had brought in a large number of people who were very attached to being to those triggers, who were very attached to being in that energy and not moving out of it. So when we closed that line of business, we basically offered that anybody from that line of business who was interested in business could come with us. And so we kind of kept the ones, you know what I mean? We kept, some of y'all are in that program, right? But you come to this because you're like actually who we're building the new things for with the clean energy grid. I don't want you to use pain point marketing to fill your business and your days of people with active pain that they're like attached to. I want us to be marketing our businesses through the the energy of the upgraded diametrical opposite from those pain points. That's what we call the UDO, the ultimate dream outcome vision. And that is a good energy to be in. We're going to talk about how to market your offers through that lens in just a minute. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to check the chat in just a second. All right, so when my offers have lined up with my genius, my rhythm, how I like to work, and my people, that's y'all, meaning your upgraded diametrical opposite of your pain points, your ultimate dream outcomes, my nervous system unclenches, your nervous system unclenches, and then it's just us figuring out how we're going to rendezvous exactly and when, right? It's like not, because clenched people don't buy, wide open nervous system people do. So why does this all matter? I'm going to go through this part really quickly. Some of you know I had a serious accident last year that required me to be in the bed, not moving for a month, almost a month. And what I saw after I stopped being totally fucking horrified that I had to cancel a bunch of my live sessions, I was mortified. It's where all of my old people pleasing shit stirred up. I call it people pleasing platinum edition because I was never like a doormat type people pleaser, but asking for what I need when people don't actually have to do it for me or give it to me, or without me having performed some superhuman feat that makes me feel like I definitely deserve that first, was awful, terrifying. I was like, oh my gosh, how can I do this? I was trying to figure out how I could teach even though I couldn't move. And like, you know, the skin was like peeling off of my body from the burns. Until I started watching our WhatsApp group. And I started seeing people be like, oh gosh, these daily rituals are like rocking my world, or I have this big shift in my life, my business as a result. And I'm like, so the work is still working. Like the actual intellectual property that I have turned my genius into is still getting these people results. My team was still running other things. People were getting results. And I thought, this is the definition of a successful business. It's not just a job where people get results if I'm physically there. A business is where I can rest for 3 weeks and my people still get results and I still make money. And that is the power of intellectual property and this universe sitting your ass still for a while so you can see what needs seeing and say what needs saying. During that time, I really got into essentialism, which there's a book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown, which I recommend. And he says that the way of the essentialist isn't about getting more done in less time. It's really about only doing the right things. All right. So it's not about time management or productivity. It's about discipline and discerning what is truly essential and eliminating every other thing. And so I will tell you, at that time, I was like, when you have one of those life flashes before your eyes for real moments, you better pay attention. And when I paid attention, I was like, there's a bunch of shit I'm doing in my business that I'm not doing anymore, because it does take away from my ability to write deep books, which I care about. It takes away from my ability to like be fully present with London, because I got to see the The trauma fondling folks are online all the time, right? And there's always something incoming from them. Like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And so it was that crystal clarity. I essentialized and eliminated a bunch of stuff. And then I also just saw, I wrote this book a while back called The Transformational Consumer. So I see transformational consumer trends all the time. And I could see that people were no longer really buying offers that were like shadow work based offers only, fluffy offers with intangible promises, pain point marketing. People I wanted to work with were no longer buying that stuff. Offers, again, that clench their nervous system because it's just so much stuff. There's 20 calls a week, right? Instead of just orderly, peacefully calling forth their greatness. And when I say greatness, y'all, I'm talking about utter universal perfection. I'm talking about highest good. I'm not talking about do so much, be perfect, act perfect, do a ton of stuff. I'm talking about calling forth people's emergence. All right. And that just adrenalized, so many live launches in days and whatever, people weren't even buying on those live launches. And so I started to really, lesson learned, all dumping everything you can into an offer is not the ultimate flex. And in fact, most premium paying dream clients that you actually want to work with will be repelled by that. So in that time while I was on bed rest, I realized that there are all these drivers in our thinking minds and in our conditioning that are, they're energetic patterns, they are thought habits, they are mental addictions, they are worries, they are what I used to call the trances: fear, scarcity, unworthiness, trauma, right? They're blocks, you could call them. Some people call them gates, wounds. Even there's all of that stuff is underneath a lot of the desires that we have for our lives and our businesses. And when I really started to look at my business and my plan for it, I realized, I really wasn't even in my genius. As good as I am as a metaphysician, I'm better at translating someone's genius into an intellectual property business. I have done that. I did that for MyFitnessPal, and they sold that company for $475 million 2 years after I did that work there. Right. So when I thought about it, I was like, I'm not even using some of the things that I do the best. And I realized that I needed to dissolve those conditioned thinking mind stories, habits, and drivers that were underlying the way I was running my business. Drivers like perfectionism, like attachment to outcomes, to what I thought my business should look like. How much money I thought I should make, how many clients I thought I should have to be successful. The need to be in perpetual motion all the time to avoid other issues in my life. Martyrdom, the always feeling like I'm important because I'm, through overwork, basically. Saving them people syndrome. Why am I doing these things? I'm doing them for them because they enjoy them. The clients love them. That's not enough of a reason. The feeling the need to prove you're exceptional. And all of this resistance, remember what we started out with? Where your resistance is circling is where your highest good probably lies. Oh, there's a Ram Dass quote. What is the quote? Wait. What's the quote, Tara? The quote is, where you stumble, there lies your treasure. Tara's version is, where you resist, there lies your treasure. Bars, guys, right? A whole word. Where you resist, there lies your treasure. And I realized that all of these drivers, as I dissolved them, I no longer had the need to do that stuff. And I realized, oh, wait, I've been acting like I'm the engine. I'm the engine for content. I'm the engine for marketing. I'm the engine for sales. I'm the engine for fulfillment. And as long as I was being the engine, I was making these 3 mistakes that I see people make all day, every day, still now today when they're trying to build their empires. Mistake number one is trying to just get a few more one-on-one clients. So trying to build cash flow with highly customized one-on-one offers, or trying to make a new offer every month or every, couple times a year, to the detriment, while neglecting to build a signature system or a signature offer sequence. Okay. Mistake number two is just sitting in the room by yourself, trying to figure out what your offer should be, trying to figure out what people will actually buy, instead of just offering it to them to see what they actually will buy. The way to know what people will buy is to offer it to them and see if they will buy it, period. But complexity, right? We make all this complexity. Ask people, do surveys. You don't need to do that shit. Just offer it to them. Mistake number three is assuming that if you just post all the time on social media, and I see people giving themselves such a hard time about not posting consistently, just assuming that if you post consistently, sales will just happen somehow. That's not how it works. Posting on social media with making no offers, you will not sell anything that way. All of these things boil down to no guardrails and no constraints. And when I corrected for these mistakes, I made big pivots. I shut down any offer that was not in the center of my genius gong. If the offer didn't turn me on to deliver it, I'm not doing it already. Like in the business now, today, less than 6 months later. If it's not turning me on, I don't do it. I stopped selling doing and started selling my actual genius, which was kind of this intersection of my metaphysical work and creating a really specific intellectual property-based business, skillful guidance, creating an empire. And then I reset my goal from like, oh my gosh, I used to think I need to make $4 million a year in a good year. I reset my goal to a freedom business where it's high profit, sure, but it's low hours and low stress too. That's the vision. And so I launched a new flagship offer with those constraints. And the first month, we made over $92,000 in income while I worked 16 hours a week, almost pure profit, because my team went from 15 people to like, let's call it 2.5 FTE. All right, so catch this principle. Months like this, 5 and 6 figure months in a part-time work week, are totally possible and available to you. Even if you think you only need $20,000 a month, $20,000 a month in a 20-hour work week is totally possible and available to you, but it will not be accidental. I've run this, as I show on this page, I've run a bunch of launches like this now over the last year. $72,000 in a week, $23,000 in a week, $80,000 in a week, $66,000 in a couple of weeks. And all of these to micro lists, tiny fractions of my list, 20 people, 100 people, 100 people. One was 12. Oh, there's one that I didn't even put on here. It's 12 people. Each of these launches went from the idea of the offer to being in market in less than a week. No big list, no big funnel, no big complexity. People bought these offers because they had done previous offers of mine that caused them to shift, that shifted the energy field for them, that shifted what they believed was possible for them, that sparked their belief and trust that I could help, that me and my method and my energy and my system could help them get to their ultimate dream outcome. So because they had been in earlier offers of mine, they were pre-sold on that next stage of depth or results or speed or intimacy of working with me. Okay. And this was like, at the time, I hadn't actually created this intentional offer sequence, but lessons learned. My genius, part of my human design, is looking at lessons learned. And so when I took a look back, I was like, wow, I spent all these money on ads, did it the business bros way. None of that worked. Either I was exhausted or spent all my profit, or it just didn't work. Nobody joined. But I did these smaller things in this delicious way in alignment with my design. Because of the relationship I had had with those customers, it worked. So I looked back and was like, I see. I had sort of experimented my way into offers that were designed and structured and priced to be optimized for buyer psychology, meaning they didn't have any of the frictions and bottlenecks in them that most online business offers have. And so I turned that into the offer sequence that I am bringing to you. So I want you to just, if you catch any principle on this and you're new to my world, know that if you want to start making real money for being your real self, it's available to you. You just need an ultra profitable, low hours signature system and offer sequence in place. Okay. And if you can do that, which I will show you how to do, you will no longer be forced to choose between the personal time that you need, me time, family time, whatever you need, and the income that you know you need to live your freedom life. Okay. You do, though, have to implement an intentional offer sequence that reaches new people and brings them into your world and pre-sells them on working with you while you're at Pilates or writing your next book. Okay. But you can't be the engine. Your offers have to become the engine. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk through. Actually, you know what we'll do first? Let's do some dissolutions. Who's ready to do some dissolutions? Can I put the link in here? Need to get, okay, good. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, great. All right, great. Let's do some dissolutions. So I want you to just close your eyes. Close your eyes. And stop being stingy to either one of your butt cheeks. I want you to let your weight just distribute equally on your butt cheeks. I want your feet flat on the ground. And I want you to feel something like roots growing out of your feet and the back of your body, cracking through the surface of the earth, extending all the way down, all through the dirt, through the earth's molten core, all the way to the center. So you are totally and completely rooted in. You need no muscle tension at all. You don't even have to hold your body up. You're rooted into the center of the earth. All that is supporting you, is nourishing you. And from this place, I want you to take a deep breath. Maybe you want to raise your arms all the way up to the sky for a moment. Sit up tall through the sides of your waist and through your spine. Maybe even imagine that your spine is a conduit between heaven and earth. Because that's what you are as you build your business in this model. You become a conduit from between heaven and earth. There is a God force glowing blob, pulsating, throbbing blob of golden liquid electric genius at the center of you. It is literal God force. And all we're going to do is help you access more of that so that you can flow it to whatever is important to you. And I think that might just be your empire. There's an inner pipeline that runs up the center of who you are. And we're just going to like allow it to fall wide open, allow all constrictions to fall away so that you can access more of your genius and bring it to the people you desire to serve. What clogs up that inner pipeline is the chatter of the cognitive mind, the turbulence of us judging ourselves, our business, our money, our results, the clients we get or don't get. What clogs up our inner pipeline are the stories and narratives of our thinking mind. It's all thoughts. And I know we are intellectual, intelligent people, and we think our thoughts are superior, but even that is a story and a narrative of our thinking mind. Because the thinking mind is also sort of like, if you've ever had a pair of like black velvet pants or dark velvet pants, it's like a lint magnet. They're beautiful, but it's a lint magnet. That's your thoughts. They might be beautiful. They tell some beautiful stories, but they pick up so much. They pick up conditioning. They pick up glorification of hard. They pick up the idea that you have to specifically, things have to turn out the exact way you want them to, or they're bad or wrong. They pick up addictions to certain outcomes. They pick up addictions to all kinds of thoughts. Addictively thinking about your business, addictively thinking about your business in certain ways. The trances, thought habits of fear, scarcity, unworthiness, trauma, all of that is thought. All of that is cognition. And where that golden, glowing, molten, liquid, pulsating light and love and genius, vitality, life force, source energy, all of that is below, is beneath, can be trapped by all of that thinking. So what I want to do is read you a series of dissolutions I've been practicing every day. If you are in Empires, I'm going to do a deeper dive on this for you next week. But let's get started here. Let's start dissolving all of those thought addictions, conditioning, thought habits, attachments to outcomes. Let's dissolve all of that to zero. And your mind probably right now is like, this lady's insane. Why is she telling me to dissolve my thoughts to build my business? Because I know that the opposite of that thinking mind, which for the purposes of this series of dissolutions, we'll call it not mind. Not mind is the same as soul or source or spirit or divinity or God force, goddess energy. So while you think that your thoughts are keeping you safe, these dissolutions to release your mind's control over every experience in your life, by dissolving all of that, you actually access a dramatically deeper and more profound resolution and solution energy. All the solutions that you need are already in there. You just can't quite access them because your mind is so busy judging, comparing, storytelling. The more physically relaxed you can get during this exercise and during every day of your life, the more flexible and open a conduit to all that is you will become. And the more success, but I mean like that soulful well-being and all the kinds of riches, universal perfection, not just money, all of that will begin to flow to you. The more deeply you can dissolve all of that thinking. So let's begin. Before we begin, we're going to just connect strongly to not mind, to source, to spirit, to guide us. If you have a meditation practice, it's really helpful, isn't it? Because you can just drop kind of right in. And what we're going to do is sort of envision connecting that space, that depth, that place in you that's beneath all the thinking, to all of these issues and thought habits and concerns, almost like it's an eraser that just erases them, or an acid that just dissolves them down to zero. Okay. If you have a God type based spirituality, you can even imagine yourself just handing them over, handing them over to all that is, handing them over to the goddess, handing them over to God. When I say not mind, you can hear God, goddess, God, source, spirit. Okay. So connect not mind to any thoughts, concerns, or beliefs you may have about past or other teachings. Use not mind to dissolve times in the past when you tried other techniques and they did not work for you. Use not mind to resolve any disappointment, frustration, or irritation related to what you've learned previously. Use not mind to connect strongly to the highest essence of your past teachings, leaving out all judgments and criticisms by your mind. Whatever you need to retain from these teachings will be left behind, and everything that's not in line with your current stage will be dissolved. Past teachings no longer limit your present and future results. Use not mind to dissolve mental concepts from all teachings you have encountered in the past, present, and future, including today. There's no need to hold on to mental concepts or intricate steps. Use not mind to help you effortlessly incorporate these teachings into your business and your life, and to go from concepts to integration. Whenever integration is needed, it will be quickly done through not mind. Use not mind to dissolve all mental concepts, constructs, beliefs, frameworks, and secrets that the mind is holding on to. Use not mind to dissolve the need to discover or hold on to any secrets. Use not mind to dissolve any belief related to secret success or manifestation principles. There are no secrets in the realm of not mind, where these universal energies are equally and freely available to everyone. Use not mind to dissolve all the known and unknown issues currently affecting you in life. Let's apply not mind to the unknown issues you haven't even yet picked up on, discovered, or vocalized. Use not mind to dissolve unknown factors at the physical, mental, and spiritual levels that affect you. Use not mind to dissolve the influence of these unknown factors without the need to state or know them. Use not mind to dissolve all lessons that you have unknowingly held on to. Let all lessons or the need to feel like you learned from your lessons go. Use not mind to dissolve the top 3 issues that concern you the most right now. There is no need to state or bring them to your awareness. Just connect these 3 issues, whatever they may be, to not mind. Use not mind to dissolve and return the underlying energetic patterns to a zero natural state. Also, use not mind to dissolve the effects of repeating, rehashing, and ruminating these issues on all levels of your being. Apply not mind to dissolve the cumulative negative effects of thinking or talking about these issues. Apply not mind to dissolve the feeling that these issues are unresolved or cannot be resolved. Dissolve and become completely silent about these issues in your life with not mind. Now, apply not mind directly to the next 5 issues that bother you the most in your life, whatever they may be. There is no need to deliberately spell out or state what they are. There's no need to bring them to your attention. Instead, just not mind the top 5 issues that affect your consciousness. Use not mind to dissolve their effects from years of mental thinking to just a few seconds. Next, use not mind to dissolve the effects of those few seconds into nothingness. Finally, use not mind to dissolve the effects of repeated negative thinking in the past, present, and future. Repeated negative thinking, thought habits, trances, scarcity thinking, unworthiness thinking, fears, trauma-based thinking has absolutely zero effect on your past, present, and future, starting now. Use not mind to connect strongly to all remaining issues in your life, known or unknown, stated or unstated, realized or unrealized, throughout all space and time, past, present, and future. Use not mind to combine all these issues into one and dissolve them. Connect not mind to the root cause or causes of these issues and dissolve them. Connect not mind to the emotional charge associated with any memories at all and dissolve them. Your memories will remain, but will no longer have any negative effects on your manifestations. Finally, use not mind to connect with inner silence and peace. Amplify the intensity of this inner silence. Feel how profound and deafening this silence is. This is the silence beyond all silence. This is the peace that passes all understanding. Use not mind to connect powerfully and immerse yourself in this absolute silence. This is deep resolution energy. This is the silent universal force that you are always connected to and can always tap on as you go about your physical life experience. Use not mind to connect firmly to this silence that is beyond your mind. And bring this silence with you out into your business, out into the world, out into your relationships, as you work and move through your life. Now take one moment and sit in this silence. Sit in this deep resolution energy of not mind before you slowly integrate back into the physical environment around you and into this session. Notice the difference you feel on the inside. This is the primal awareness that precedes all highest good manifestations. Take one moment and sit in that. And then come back into the room and come into the chat when you're ready. Take your time and just give us one word with how you feel. Clear, grounded, clear, free. Yes. Yes. So if you're in Empires and you haven't begun a daily dissolution practice, I ask you to begin one now. Inner calm. Yes, I know. That was from the book How to Resolve Anything and Manifest Everything by Richard Dotz. And if you're in Empires, you have the link to that book because I have shared that link and asked you guys to buy that book and several others a lot. Let me see if I can get... Let's see if we can drop the link into the chat. Resolved. Regina, hi, love. Resolved. Yes. And so I'll teach much more about this to you guys. If you're in Empires, we're going to do some live rituals, some live dissolutions. And what's fascinating about them and my experience of them is that they are built and written to be recursive, meaning to add upon, we invite spirit to kind of keep running that dissolution computer program in the background, even when we're not conscious, even in past timelines, even in future timelines. So if you practice this even once, things start to shift. That's why I decided I was going to take the wheel and just do it with you today, because I keep hearing people say, "Oh, I'm going to get to that. I need to get to that." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 you don't understand. This will accelerate everything. And you don't even have to keep doing it unless you, just like me, love the way it feels in your cells when you do it." So I keep doing it. Tiffany says complete. Reverend Karen says anew. Yes. Okay. So these dissolutions are built to be very efficient. They kind of just keep running. And you'll see, you've heard me teach about manifestation before. You'll see a lot of things will just start to happen when you can stop minding your business. Okay. Okay. So with that said, let me just run through the model real quick, and then we'll talk about 2025, the rest of 2025. The Empire's business model, if you have any questions about that or anything, just come into the chat and let me know. But I just thought it would be a gift that I gave us all to be able to do that practice in person all together, where you can't not do it because I'm just speaking it over you. Okay. All right. The Empire's business model. The Empire's business model that I keep talking about and writing my emails about and talking about on social media is your unique spirit and genius translated into the form of a strategic sequence of 3 offers. Okay. And when we talk about offers, if you're not a business person, you might be like, what does she keep talking about offers? An offer is just product. It's something that you literally offer to people in exchange for money. Okay. Your Empire offer is the flagship core signature transformation offer. So in my business, that's Empires. Your Spark session is like a prerequisite offer. It's a gateway kind of thing. It's a gateway conversion event that brings people into your Empire offer. In my business, today is a Spark session. And then there are hook assets. Hook assets are really that shift the energy, paradigm shifting content that brings strangers into your world and causes them to become customers. So an Empire's business is a business that has those 3 offers, generates an additional $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per month in a 16 to 20 hour work week. Okay. If you're working 70 hours a week in your business, that's not an Empire business. All right. These offers are supported and run on light automations and upsells. And the result is a business that really is it's meant to be a highest good manifestation for everyone involved, because it fulfills buyer psychology needs. Like, it meets your dream clients where they are, taps on their desires, dissolves their objections, and just moves them powerfully into, not just into your offer, your money, their money in your bank account, and moves them powerfully into this future that is their destiny, and their highest good destiny, their ultimate dream outcome. Okay, so it's like, if you do the Empire offer right, you're really helping people live their dreams for real. And it also fulfills your needs. It honors your nervous system. Many genius people are twice exceptional, meaning they have an exceptional genius and they have some exceptional needs too. It honors your sacred callings. It honors your gifts. It honors your desire to have something making money that is working for you while you're doing other things. All right. So the idea of this Empire's business model is that your offers become the engine, so you don't have to be the engine anymore. And the vision of the Empire's business model is $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 more if you want per month, a 16-hour work week, 90% of your time in your zone of genius, all powered by the Empire offer sequence and this launch dirty approach, which is like the anti-perfectionism, lightest lift possible way to run offers. I'm capturing that phrase because anti-perfectionism is good. If you see me doing this is what I do in your business brunches. Y'all think you just be talking about stuff that's not that important, and I'm just over here cherry picking the phrases that I need to cast a vision and craft offers for you. Craft your pillars, your vision for your offer that is magnetic to your right people. All right. What are the pillars of an Empire's model business? Each of the pillars of Empires, and this is a new way for me to talk about this, guys, if you're in Empires. Each pillar maps directly to a stage of buyer psychology. Okay. Each pillar is activated through one of the offers in your business. So you can think of the pillars of an Empires model business as like the psycho spiritual emotional sequence that your audience travels on the way to investing in your work and on the way to that future that you're forging together. Sorry, guys. I'm also, at the tail end of editing the playbook, the new book. So if I have a good turn of phrase, I got to capture it. All right. The first lever is shift. Do I have the diagram in here? Let's see if I can get a diagram for you. I bet I can. Thought I could. Oh, here it is. It's not exactly the one, but it's a one. There you go. How's that? Can you see that? Nope, I can't. There, how's that? Okay, great. Can you guys see that diagram? Let me get a witness in the chat, please. Por favor. Okay. All right, so the first pillar is shift. Shift belief, shift awareness, shift thoughts, shift possibility, shift energy, okay? Shift the field. The shift lever is pulled by what we call hook assets. And your hook assets are free or low cost content pieces that shift and upgrade the energy patterns your dream clients have probably been stuck in on your subject matter. Like they've been doing revolutions. Maybe they've been making a little growth, but they're kind of going in circles. Hook assets spark like rebirth. They're going to come to a new level. Okay. So again, hook assets create paradigm shifts, shift the field, shift the energy, shift what they've been thinking about. You're thinking about this all wrong. Here's the thing. Oh, shift how they've been thinking about it. Shift identity, shift emotion. Some of my lessons learned, some of my highest performing emails this year have been identity shifting emails. I did one that was like, your Black lady superpowers are backfiring. And I was like, even if you're not a Black lady, if you have Black lady superpowers, like doing too much, proving your worth when everybody around you knows you're actually a freaking genius, like that stuff is backfiring in your offers. I did one that was about genius money leaks. So about how if you're fire hosing people with your content and your genius all the time, or you're stuffing your offers full of stuff, it's actually backfiring. Well, that kind of an article, it also identifies you as a genius. So if you relate to it, you're like, oh yeah, actually I am a genius. And then I did one that was very high performing on being on under monetized genius, not under recognized, not unrecognized, not late blooming, not unmonetized, but under monetized genius. And we got really big reactions to all of those identity shifting hook assets. Okay, so these help them think something different and feel something different and be something different, all of which are prerequisites to doing something different, like investing in working with you. These can be reels, emails, carousels, short stories, lead magnets, mini books, podcast series, but they trigger moments of awakening. They trigger moments of clarity. They trigger that chest opening feeling of being like witnessed in a way that you have never been witnessed before. And they turn strangers into buyers. Okay. What do they buy? Sometimes they'll come on and buy your Empire offer, your core offer right away. More often, they'll need to go through a Spark session. So, a Spark session is actually in our model as we're teaching right now, always paid. Even if it's a little, even if it's $7, it's paid. And the Spark session is where your dream client gets an immersive dose of your energy and your method. In a Spark session is where they start to believe that your signature system can help them create the future that they maybe didn't even know they wanted, but now they do since they've met you, even though they've tried a bunch of other stuff and none of it has worked. Okay. So Spark sessions convert like nothing else converts. It's just a way that you can create you can forge an incredible new relationship with someone in an intensive period of time because you're literally sparking transformation and clarity in real time. And so, yes, in a Spark session, you do invite people into your Empire offer, but you don't do, the traditional, if it's an hour session, you need 30 minutes of pitch. It's not like that. It's just you being your magic self, you in your full glory, in your full genius. Okay. Drop questions into the chat along the way. Let me just check and make sure. Okay, great. Great, great, great. Forge. So Forge is a lever of like co-creation, really. Forge is where you bring people into your core offer, your signature offer. You're forging two things with your signature offer. You're forging a new relationship with them because for me, it's all spiritual, right? So it's not really about it's not even about whether you're a coach or a consultant or a speaker or a, course creator or curriculum designer or whatever you want to call yourself, a fractional CFO or whatever you are. It's not even about that. It's just about you. Your new relationship becomes, I am a co-creator with you. I am in this with you. I'm not just teaching you. I'm not even just coaching you. We are doing this together. You are forging a new relationship with them by helping them forge a new future. So your core offer or signature offer, we call it your Empire offer, is the sort of space and the infrastructure where you are building and forging that new future together. Okay. It's the space and the offer you have that helps your clients create their ultimate dream outcome through your signature system. And it is the beating heart of your business. Like your core offer must translate your beautiful out here hand waving visionary big idea genius into a tangible result. It has to communicate that in the offer sales page. It must be structured. In the Empire model, we structure your core offer to be able to be fulfilled and delivered in 5 hours per week. You must be able to scale it without diluting your energy or diluting the depth of your work. And you must use it to deliver deep, tangible, transformational wins. Okay, the final lever is flow. And this is the only emotional lever of the 4 in the Empire's business model and offer sequence that is yours. Okay. Shift, Spark, Forge is really for them. Flow is a lever for you. It's your lever of ease and safety. And I can unfurl and relax and expand now because I've built this business that has boundaries built into it and has an engine built into it that's always on, so I don't have to be. All right. So lessons learned. Geniuses don't necessarily love building systems. Lessons learned that building this kind of a business does require you to switch modes a little bit from visionary, exciting, like the deep, like soul work, to getting a little operational and niggly sometimes. Like there's some experimenting. When we start experimenting with ads, there's just some parts where there's no right answer. You just got to do the experiment. It's not always fun. And that's why we do the 8-figure nervous system work, or you have access to Reclaim in Empires, because your nervous system, you need to know how to bring it down so that you can get through those days and months sometimes that are chop wood, carry water times. Okay. When I say chop wood, carry water, I just mean, it's an old book about Zen Buddhism, actually, and about how some of our biggest spiritual and personal growth comes not from these breakthrough moments, but through the everyday tasks in life and how we show up to them. Okay, so the flow part is where it's like what I think of as the niggly bits. We don't do the flow part until you've installed the offers for the most part. But those niggly bits are what allow the business to run without you. Okay, so it's a light touch engine of content that's automated, booking flows, calls to action, and like just enough technology that lets your dream clients binge your content and then buy your stuff, while you sleep or while you're in the sauna if you're Emily. So I don't believe this is not a passive business. It's your genius, and your genius is not passive. But I do think it can be semi-passive or easeful and aligned and non-frantic. Okay, it can be intelligent and intentional. You can work smarter, not harder. All right, and so the Empire's business model that's the model. It also is a way of being in your business. It's a series of mindsets, a series of skill sets, and then it's the offer set and implementation protocol. And I'm not going to go through, I'll say them, but I'm not going to teach the mindsets today. Your offer is a door, not a destination. It's not the end, it's just the beginning of your relationship with people. Your business is not a dementor. Yes, like Harry Potter. Your business is not, if you dread doing everything in your if you dread building this kind of a business, you may have like that dementor storyline in your mind that's like, everything's going to be hard or everything's going to be adrenalized before you can prosper. That's why we do the dissolutions, so you can create from a fresh space. And Empire's mindset number 3 is that lean launch kind of methodology, philosophy that there's really no way to know what will sell without selling it. So instead of being perfectionistic and spending months and years building offers before we launch them, we just launch them rapidly. And we do very light lift launches and I think of it as like getting your clients on board to co-create it with you. Okay. Now, there are 4 Empire skill sets too: the skill of offer crafting, the skill of bottleneck removal, the skill of conversion marketing and storytelling, and then nervous system rooted marketing and offer optimization. These skills are like my zone of genius. So I don't do a ton of like teaching all of these things to you. You will practice them as you build your business, but these skills are actually already built into the Empire business model offers. Okay, so the templates and the step-by-step sprints and the feedback that you get when you're in Empires, all those skills are already built into them. Okay, you will also you will build those skills as you run this kind of business over time. But I just wanted to name them. Okay. I have a 4-step path for building your empire. Remember, there's only 3 offers. Okay. And the 3 offers are we used to call it your think offer. It's your hook assets, your spark session, and your core empire offer. This is the direction, the sequence in which your strangers to you encounter your material and become your clients. Okay. Think or hook, spark, empire. Shift, spark, forge. Okay. This is not the order in which we build them, though. Okay. We build them in this order. We build your empire offer first. An empire offer is usually priced at $3,000 to $17,000 per year, even though we often price them in a weekly pricing model, which makes people who are new to you less concerned, less nervous system clenched about signing on with you. Okay. So your Empire offer is a core offer, translates your unique spirit and genius into a series of tangible outcomes and a system that you use to help people get there. You start, and it's like a recipe. You start with the ultimate dream outcome vision, which is the dish you're cooking together. Then you go to your signature pillars, the top 3 ingredients of that dish. You talk them through your unique mechanism, which is the specific genius insight you have that explains why your method works when others don't. And then the path or success path or journey, those are your like recipe instructions, how we're going to do this together. Okay. Your Empire offer really creates a situation in your business where you love who is on your calendar. You love what is on tasks that are on your calendar. You love the results your clients keep getting. You love your take-home profits because you're keeping a lot more of your money this way. And ultimately, all of those things, if you do your Empire offer right, you create that sweet spot. Okay. I'm going to skip through a whole bunch of stuff in the interest of time. Your Spark session is paid. Again, it's kind of like today. Ideally, it's live. We're doing some experimentation with like deep toolbox kind of Spark offers. Ideally, that include a live launch pad or a live session or a live training or something, because it's the energy. It doesn't need to be 5 days alive and like all that stuff. It just needs to include an immersive dose of your energy so people can get a tasty morsel of what it's like to actually work with you. And your Spark session always teaches your unique mechanism of solution. It teaches why your work works. Okay. And remember, today is a Spark session for us. Okay. Then there's your hook assets. And those can be ads, social media posts, lead magnets, YouTube video, tiny offer that's always on, reaches strangers and brings them into your universe by shifting the field, shifting the energy, or helping them think something different about what's possible and available to them. Again, it is also based on a small, unique insight that you've had. And I think of it as like the small hinge that swings open the big door to the ultimate dream outcome that you help your ideal customers create. And the vision is ultimately then, after we launch all of those and we know they're working, we start to link them up with the automations. And when we turn them into like an evergreen engine, the idea is that your customers, your dream customers in the world, could discover your hook asset at 10 o'clock p.m., be in an evergreen Spark session by 11 p.m., and be buying your Empire offer by midnight, all in the same night. And that engine running is what builds your empire while you sleep. Because my bedtime is 9:30, so that's why I wrote these to start at 10 p.m. Okay. All right. So those are the offers again. And I have this little table here. I'm going to drop this link into the chat. Yeah. I have this little table here that kind of shows you the offer sequence and the different formats of content that could go under each of these. And then I have a table of examples here from my own business where we have this like point of view, kind of like wild point of view, social media post that brought people into a toolbox that contained a live session that brought people into our core offer. And then another example was like, we had an email that I wrote. Now, and this is like a lesson learned. I find that my loves to be on the journey with me. They love to be on the journey with me, which I love because I need to process the journey. So, in my everyday life, I'm always on DM with Keisha, or I'm always talking, to Nick or to Emily or to whoever about what's happening, what I'm learning, what I'm seeing in real time, what's working, what's not working, my process, what I'm closing down, what I'm turning on. I just do that in my emails now. If I hear myself tell that same story to Nick and Keisha, then I'm gonna write it up into an email and y'all are gonna see it in your inbox the next week. So I just have, it makes content so much easier. I'm just writing to my people. I'm writing to my friends and sharing with them um, my process. I'm writing to my business besties, okay, and sharing with them my process. So I wrote this email about a pivot I was making in the energies in my business. And then we invited people into a business brunch offer. And then people, it was either business brunch. And then actually around the same time, we actually invited people into the Tara Kirk Method certification. Um, People from both of those offers were invited into the Omega Club, okay, or into Empires and upsell, and some people bought the upsell into the Omega Club, which is where you get more one-on-one from me. Okay. So the path is just exactly that. You don't need a million offers. You don't need a big ass live launch every month. You need to create your Empire offer. You need to launch it dirty. You need to create a Spark session and launch that. You need to develop a hook asset and then turn them all on. You can do this from start to finish in about 90 days. I have an important note about timing in here because, you know, I have taught this as like, I think in this particular document, you have a 3-day offer creation sprint. I do this in 3 days. I've done this now many times in my own business in 3 days. People who can do this in 3 days tend to have a very mature signature method that they just haven't known how to format in an offer yet. Or they already have a very mature like concept. And once they get the flame work, it just goes. Okay. So do not, if it takes you more, like, it's also, we have people in Empires that do it in a month. We have people in Empires that do it in 3 or 4 months. Tracking or rushing your progress just makes it take more time, not less. It just is that mental chatter story that clogs up the pipeline. Okay. Tracking and rushing your progress also diminishes the likelihood that you're going to create a hit product or a hit offer. And I share in here why people tend to take longer, where the resistance tends to be around. A lot of people resist casting a powerful vision for their offer because they don't want to be on the hook for delivering guarantees. You know, they don't know if they can help people get there, basically. And so, you know, in Empires, we actually, last week's member message was all about that, right? What do you do if you have, you know, what the UDO vision is you should be casting, but you're scared to cast it? We talk all the way through all of that. Okay. And then in step 4, you just get rid of everything that's not working and optimize what is, and you make it run on an engine. Okay. I'm not going to take a bio break. What you have here in the rest of this document is is like a playbook for actually creating your offer in 3 days and launching it dirty if you want to try to do that. If you're in Empires, don't try to do that. If you're in Empires, work with the sprints that are in Empires, okay? If you're in Empires, Empire Build, or the Omega Club, just work with the sprints that we're doing in there, okay? They are very optimized for nervous system regulation and great offer creation, which requires some time and some sleeping on it. Okay. We're 2 hours in. Okay. Thank you, Emily. Okay, you should have access now, guys. So we just, as a, you know, time check, we are 2 hours in. I'm going to talk for another 15 minutes probably. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to talk for 5 minutes. Let me just make sure that's true. I'm going to talk for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to give you guys a few minutes for questions. So if you have a question, you might want to drop it into the chat now, especially about 2025 plans and stuff. If you want to know if I had like a specific lesson about a specific topic, drop it in now. Okay. So I was teaching last year. I taught a whole bunch about setting a vital vision, because I had read the book Vivid Vision, and I was irritated that guy, who is great, Cameron Herold, wrote this whole book about setting a business vision and then like save the last 10 pages for your life vision. And I was like, that's exactly backwards of my process. I have a process for downregulating my nervous system, casting a vital vision, and doing it so powerfully that, sure, I get focused and on track, but also the universe starts to like hand me gifts that make progress along to the vital vision. So that's kind of what I did to set my 2025 plan. And I set it life first. I'd had a conversation with my friend who was like, I feel like you're always doing business and then writing is down here, but you keep saying that you want them to be reversed. So why don't you make them reversed? So that's what I did. My 2025 vision was really much more personal than it was business for the first time, literally ever. I wanted to write a big impact book. I had some goals or vision around my motherhood of my children. And I did also want to spark a movement of thriving, multi-exceptional people and families where people were hitting their version of the Empire business model recipe, whether it was $10,000 months or $100,000 months, but in a part-time work week in their zone of genius with the offers that we just learned about. And so I set 3-year vision and then 1-year plan. And 12-week action plan. So I'm like, that's the vision for 3 years. I know where I want us to be by the end of this year. And then I always set what I want to do 12 weeks at a time. And you should too, because things change a lot after 12 weeks. Some offers you launch or ads you launch work or won't work. And then you'll need to shift your action plan based on what is working and what is not working. And sometimes things that aren't working are actually working commercially to make money, but they're not working because you don't like them. Okay, so I had my 12-week action plan, including a couple big trips with London, including organizing my helpers at home and in the business, including finishing a draft of this book that I was working on at the time. And then also a business. So I had a life 12-week plan and a business 12-week plan, which is a rubric I recommend for you. Okay. And in the business action plan, it was like 1 email a day, 2 offers per month, client success goals, and some infrastructure goals. Okay. We've been doing anywhere between, we've had a couple of months that were close. We had like a $90,000 something month. We've had some 50,000, like we're having a $50,000 month this last month. We have had more like $30,000 to $50,000 months this year, or yeah, since I'm in my mind this year, since November. Okay. But that's great. I'm really happy with that because I also blew up my business and closed down a bunch of revenue generating things that I was doing. So that's great. We're moving in the right direction on that. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Yeah, we actually did most of the things that we wanted to do this quarter. I didn't quite get an email a day out. It was probably more like 3 to 4 emails a week out. But they were good. And I will tell you, if you want a lesson learned, it's send emails. The more emails I send, the more money I make. The more long form emails you can send when you're not promoting things, taking people with you along the journey, building real relationship, codification, like defining a phenomenon that they'll find resonant, and defining an archetype that they'll find resonant, like under-monetized genius or doing too much, giving definitions, and then always, but I make an offer in every email. I'm either inviting you to my Spark session, I'm inviting you to buy a book, I'm inviting you to come into Empires, I'm inviting you to come to Empires Build, period. Always, every email. And that is really, really working. Okay. Daily dissolutions have really been working. A lot of the organization and reorganization to my team, to our technologies, to my life, to my helpers, is dramatically sped up by these dissolutions. My recognition of what needs to stop is dramatically sped up by my dissolutions. My experience of joy in my business, dramatically sped up by my dissolutions. Okay, ads. What have I learned about ads? Okay, what has not worked has been, for us so far this year, has been well, have we run ads to lead magnets this year? I haven't run ads to lead magnets this year, but I made this list of ads, what has worked and what hasn't worked based on not just this year. So what has not worked for me personally with ads has been ads to lead magnets, ads to free events, ads to paid events. Now, I don't mean that I haven't gotten people to sign up. I mean that those people haven't converted. Okay. Well, ads to paid events, we haven't had a lot of people convert to paid events yet through the ads that we've run yet, but we're just still early on experimenting with those. Yes, we've done, yeah, because we've had ads to paid up, like VIPs versions of events, and those have worked in the past actually. But it was really like an ad to a free event, or we got people through our email list to come to the paid VIP version. So I have run ads to lead magnets and had a lot of people come into them. I've run ads to free events and challenges a lot and had a lot of people come into them, but they have not really converted well, cost effectively. Let me say that. In the short term. Now, I will say I did a lot of writing challenges at the very beginning of my business, and I have people who are on this call right now today that came to those writing challenges. But I ran a lot of ads. We spent a lot of money. We had a huge list. It was very costly to manage. And most of the people who converted were on my email list. Okay. Now, what has worked for me with ads has been ads to low ticket hook assets. $7 book, $4.97 book. We're going to try this with templates and tool. Actually, we already did. We did Toolbox, and that was good. In my business, and the reason I keep saying in my business for the ad stuff is that I think what works for different people is different on ads because of your human design. I am a projector. It is in my wiring to master systems, put that mastery out into the world and watch people call me. And a book is a perfect format for that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is long form content in general works really well for me. Long live sessions, long videos on YouTube, long form email storytelling, books. That just works for me. And so one of the things that came to me in doing my dissolutions the other day was I had this idea of like, wow, maybe I do have a visibility thing, even though I'm highly visible. I'm highly visible on social media channels that don't get us anything. None of our people are all on Instagram, but people are not converting to our programs through Instagram. Meanwhile, like if I shoot one long YouTube video, somebody comes in, it's kind of wild. So I'm like, there is a way in which it's a visibility wound to be super visible and putting all this money and energy into a channel where your people aren't, in a way that distracts you from being on the channel where it's just very well suited for me. And so I was joking with the members that I've said for years, I'm a long form woman living in a short form world. And I'm just going to move to the long form world. Like there is a long form world here in 2025. It's YouTube and podcasts and emails and books. And so we're shifting our energies and resources to there. Okay. Dirty launches are still working. Dirty launches are working even for ascension. Like Empire Build was never meant to be an offer that was like an ascension offer. It was meant to be for new people, but it's mostly been so far, most people, not all, most people who've enrolled in it are already in Empires and just realizing, they've been in for a while and they really need the extra support. let's see, offers are, Empires is working as an offer. Empire Build is working as an offer. And then, what's been working for me is like I've just decided that my offer, I've decided that when people are burnout, when entrepreneurs are burnout, they really hold themselves back a lot in their offers. And I think I have done some of that in the past. And I'm not burnout anymore. And I've shifted the energy of my business so that I love the people who are in it in their businesses. So I've just kind of taken some of the boundaries that I used to have off, because I can trust the container. The container is built strongly enough to hold boundaries as needed. So like I'm just creating more within the existing business right now, like doing these weekly member messages because I love them and I think the conversations they spark is huge. We're doing a challenge just as a reminder. If you're in Empires, 100 minutes a day of lead generation or revenue generation for 90 days. Like that stuff is just inspired ideas that came to me as I was doing my own business that I wanted to bring to you guys. And that's really working. Like the conversations in the program that's sparking and the shifts it's sparking for people are amazing. So what's next for y'all? What are y'all planning to do with the rest of this year? I want you to get organized about what your focus is. And I want you to decide what your focus is. And I don't want you to make it be a financial goal only because they backfire a lot. I want you to pick a focus, maybe, and look, it can be choose your own adventure. If you haven't created your empire offer yet, laser focus on that, period. Don't be in hook asset territory. Don't be trying to think about what the next step's going to be after that. Just get your empire offer created. If you haven't launched Dirty yet, laser focus on that. If you have launched Dirty and you want more clients or revenue, you are in chop wood, carry water mode. Look at what's working in your business that you could just dial up before you start reinventing wheels. Do you need to optimize your offer? Are you doing one Spark session a month? If they're not working or getting full, do you need to optimize that? Are you focused at all on delighting and ascending your existing customers? Some of them need more of you. If you need more revenue, you might already have the audience for that right there. Almost everybody who's already launched Dirty could focus on their email program, okay? Focus on getting closer to a daily email goal. Focus on your infrastructure, list building, nurturing, conversion. Do you want to test ads or YouTube? These are areas of focus that make sense. But like the way I think about focusing on my plan is like, if you haven't created your empire offer yet, just empire offer creation is your focus. Launch Dirty is your focus. If you want more clients or revenue, more clients or more revenue is the focus. So optimization is the focus. And then that allows you to do things within that. And it allows you to know when you're off track too. Okay, let's see. Tiffany, I can't see your comment, love. Oh, it's not a comment. Okay. So, I'm glad. Dr. Evelyn says it's beautifully clear. Great. Okay, so you guys, let me know if you have questions. I'm gonna let you go here any minute because it's been a long afternoon. Thank you so much for hanging in through the technical difficulties at the beginning. We really got somewhere though. And again, if you're not in Empire, whether you are in Empires or not, if you would like to work directly with me to help you build your offer, the offer it works for every kind of industry, you guys. You don't have to be a coach or consultant. We have speakers, curriculum designers. We do have a lot of coaches and consultants. We have medical doctors. We have lawyers. Any kind of business, truly. We have realtors. I don't know if I said that already. I have a woman who's running a children's media company. I have one more. Empire Build, which is the QR code that's on screen right now, is your entry point if you need one-on-one with me. Um, and we have levels that go up from there. We have levels, including the Omega Club, and I even have this little tiny echelon I call the Queen Makers Atelier, where it's very done by the whole thing is like just crafted by me, including your launch, including everything. So it's all available to you. All right. You know where to find me. I'm Tara@soultour.com. For now, I'll probably be Tara or something at tarakirk.com soon. But right now, I'm still Tara@soultour.com. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I love you and honor you for doing this self-valuing thing and investing a couple hours with me today. Um, so let me know how I can assist or support you building the empire of your soul. I love you. Let me just check and make sure there's no more. Okay, great. When you say ads or YouTube, do you just mean no? I mean ads, as ads is one thing you could focus on, and that could be Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, or YouTube ads. And then YouTube as building a YouTube channel with videos and optimizing the channel for business sales is another thing you could do. These are two things that we know are working. So for people, these are areas we're prepared to support people in the coming quarter. All right, I love y'all. I'll see